Hello, it's Jen with Creative Housewives, and I am here to teach you about a new tool that Cricut recently launched in Design Space. If you look over here, open up your Design Space here onto our canvas screen. I'm just on a blank canvas, and scroll down on the left-hand side here at the bottom, you'll see this little monogram icon. If you haven't seen it yet, by clicking on that, it launches what is called the Monogram Maker. This is a fun new tool. Let's look around. So if you look here at the top, the first thing to notice is that it does have the green access flag here next to the Monogram Maker. That means that this tool is specifically here for Cricut Access subscribers. What I believe that means, what I've seen in the past with these projects or products, is that even if you don't have Cricut Access, you can play with this. You can use it just like with an image. If you added an image to a project that you was a Cricut Access image, you can mess around with it. You can design with it. But when it comes time to hit make it, you will be prompted and reminded that this is a tool or a feature that is specific for Cricut Access subscribers and that you need to be a subscriber to use it. So just be aware of that. The other thing to notice is also here at the top, it says it's beta. This is a new product or a new program here in Design Space, and it appears to be rolling out slowly. I do know a few people that don't see it yet in their Design Space. If you don't see it, just know it's coming. They appear to be rolling it out slowly, and they are still testing it. So it has that beta there, which means that if you run into a problem, you can easily, I believe it's over here. If we click on here, they used to have a feedback. I don't see it there. I'll do some research and see where you can do feedback now. But so let's look at the Monogram Maker. All right, so here in the Monogram Maker, right now, it's just blank, like we haven't done anything. So up here is where you would put in your initials. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my initials. And the initial for my first name is J, middle name is A, last name is C. So when I first come in here, let's go ahead and scroll back. Let's go ahead and select here. Okay, so if I am here and I am just first time user, I put in my initials, then this is what you're going to see. So you have these different, on the classic option here, we have modern, elegant, handwritten, and vintage. And there are different fonts and some different things that go with each. So right now, up at my operation type, I have any selected. I can drop down here. I can look at cut only monogram types, or I can look at cut and draw, ones that include both a cut image and a drawn image, or I can go ahead and keep it where I had it, which is on any. And then when you scroll through, you'll see that here we have the ones with just the cut, the little scissors, and then we have the ones with the pen. So you'll just be able to see both options here. And then so this is a preview of what your selected monogram is going to look like. So if I click this one, it's a cut, and this is just what it's going to look like. It's going to cut into a circle type image. Now, if I select this one, you'll notice that along this here below the preview area, a bunch of frames popped up. So I can go through and I can select any of these different frames, and they will now become part of my monogram image. And that is still keeping it just a cut image. So now if I come down to one of these drawn images or these drawn text, if I select one of these and select these different frames, you can see that that gives it a completely different look. We're going to have the cut is going to be the outer circle, and then all these inner pieces are going to be drawn. And that seems to hold true for all of these through the different frame options, is that you're going to have the drawn pieces drawn on top of the cut pieces. So that's what these look like. We've got, different options under, we've got the elegant fonts. I think this one's really pretty. There are a few in here that I think are fun. Under the handwritten, I feel like handwritten is where things you really kind of have to pay attention and just do what you like best. For instance, I think this one for my initials looks just fine. I think this one down here for my initials looks just fine, but I really don't think with my initials, I don't like the look of that one. I don't like the look of this one. I just think that you just need to, especially with the handwritten, and there are quite a few in the vintage also that I feel the same way. That just, like that one's okay. I just think that you need to, this one looks really busy to me. Just, you can see here that the tails for the A and the C kind of go together. So I think that's something to keep in mind, is to look at the different options and how they look with your particular initials that you're using to decide if it's what you want or not. So now we're going to hop back here. This is just the first, it's modern under classic. And I want to talk about one of the things that I have not been able to figure out right, if I think it's wrong or if maybe things have changed in the recent past. But my experience has always been that a monogram should look like this, which is first name initial on the left, last name initial in the middle, and then middle name initial on the right. As you're going through, you might notice, like this one has first name initial, middle name initial, last name initial. And that seems to hold pretty true with most. This one's kind of, because I do feel like the middle name initial here is bigger as it's fitting into the circle. But I feel like outside of that one, for the most part, it appears that it's doing first name initial, middle name initial, last name initial when all of the letters are the same size. So you'll see it's, first, middle, last, but then when the middle letter is larger, it's first, last, middle. And then when we go back here to this one where they're all the same size, then we're running into that again where it's first name, middle name, last name. But then when we click here again, we're getting first name, last name, middle name. So it's possible that I've just always assumed this was right, but when they are the same across, that this is actually correct. I personally feel like this does make sense because when they're all the same, I feel like you're just reading it in order, where when it's larger, then you expect the last name one to be larger. Again, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. That's just kind of what I grew up always seeing, was this variety or this variation of a monogram. And so this feels wrong, but then the more I look at it, I think it reads right. So if you have any feedback on this, you can definitely let us know. So that's just a good look just here through. These are just the different fonts and frame options here. Now, if we click over here to thematic, click on this, then we get a little bit of a different look. We still have our preview screen here, but now what we're basically seeing at the bottom are different frames. I love this one. I think it looks so pretty. And then across the middle here below the preview screen, you have your different fonts. So that's kind of a swap from what it was on the other screen where you saw your fonts and then you picked your different frames. They just have kind of swapped, which I think is great. So you'll see that some of them have, even just a single initial. And so because I have it laid out up here under my initials, first name, middle name, last name, then it is picking my last name initial for these ones that are a single initial, which I think is great. I think that's how it should be. If you wanted that to be different, obviously what you would do is you would just come up here. So say you wanted your last name or your first name just to be the only initial that you were putting on, then you would just change that. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things to know, is just you can change whatever in here just by removing the other, like changing the layout of the initials. So for instance, if we go back here to classic, obviously if I just have one initial here, it's just going to show me what all these look like with that one initial. But if I wanted it to show me the ones that are just the same size with the first name initial, last name initial, middle name initial, the layout like it is on the ones where the center font is bigger or the center letter is bigger, then you would just change that here. So now you can see this still, they're all still the same size, but I have my last name initial there in the middle. So let's go back over here to the thematic ones and just kind of take a look around really quick. We're going to put my initials back in proper order. And you can see there's under botanicals, they have a great collection of cut and draw or just cut monograms. Under decorative, they have different cute, just like frame looking ones, just a variety of different ones. This one I feel like, is a pretty standard. We see that a lot. So this is what it would look like cut, and then this is what it looks like drawn. And I think it's beautiful both ways. And there are just a variety of different, like quite a few different. And I love, again, I can't say it enough, I love that you can see the cut option versus the cut and draw option, because I think that just gives you more different options that you can look at. And then this one here, so this is a different one. You can see the default here is the single last name initial, but I can go ahead and change that, and it will show me what it looks like with my all three initials on there. You can see my initials are kind of big, so we're getting the A bumping off outside of the center there. I love that. And then we've got just different occasions. I love looking at the difference between some of these. So that's the cut, and here is the cut and draw. So this is just going to cut out the outline and then draw the details on the inside. Same here with the engagement ring. I just think that it's fun that you have those different options. The pumpkin appears to just do your first and last initial. So I think that will just depend on like what there's room for inside. And then we just have different interests, hobbies. So we've got hunting, butterfly. Just a variety of different things. Music, sewing, cute little watering can, a flamingo. And then there's just a variety of sports. I would expect that we will see more and more things pop up. Like right now we've got football, a basketball, a hockey puck, weights for weightlifters, bowling, cheer. And we got two options there for cheer, baseball / softball, and soccer. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see more things pop up in here, like lacrosse and swimming, and, just different ones. But now that we've looked around, you kind of know how we're going to go about laying out, how to change your operation type. Let's go back over here to classic. Let's go to any. We'll just go ahead and look at all of them. We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and pick this monogram. I feel like that's just a clean, simple. And then we can add a frame if we want. So you can click through here and see the different frames. I really like this one. So we're going to go ahead and select that one. Let's go ahead and add it to the canvas, and let's see what it looks like once it's added to the canvas. Now, I think this is great because now that we have it at the here on the canvas, I just wanted to show you that from here on out, the process is very much the same as using any other images in Design Space. You have the ability to size it as a whole. You can, right now it comes automatically grouped because it's set up as a monogram for you. But it's all set up here. I can resize it. Say I was doing a keychain and I knew that it was a 2-inch keychain. Then I can come up here and I can, change this to like 1.8 so that it fits there within the keychain. Right now, we'll just look. If I click make it, as with any other project, it's going to ask you, are you doing it on a mat, without a mat, on a mat, on the card mat? Right now, we're just going to do it on a mat. Go ahead and select that, hit continue. And it is, this is interesting. This has not happened before. Right now, so see what's happening here is I have all of these pieces, but I have two different colors, but it's trying to cut them out on the same mat. This might be a glitch that we need to submit to Cricut, because technically we should be cutting our yellow piece out on this mat and then the pink piece on another mat, because it should be, let's go ahead and hit cancel. Because I did not, if I select all of these and it's not giving me attach as an option. This is very different than what's been going on before. So if I click ungroup, now let's say ungroup and hit make it. Let's go ahead and say I'm doing it on a mat and continue. It is still keeping it all at once. Okay, we're going to try something else really quick. This is a new thing that I've run into here. So it's saying detach. So it is saying that somehow it was attached, but keeping the colors different colors, which makes no sense at all. So now let's see what happens. Go ahead and hit make it. On a mat. Okay, here we go. So now I've got my different pieces. So what I would want to do is I would want to select my 2 pink pieces, and I do want to attach those because I want them to cut together. And now if I click make it and I say on mat and hit continue. So now I have my pink piece as I should, and then the yellow dots as I should. This is how it should automatically do this. So this is great. So now what we need to do is we'll go ahead and go in. I'm going to have to do a little research and figure out where in here we go to submit feedback. But let's try a different monogram. So we have this monogram on here. This is great. One of the features that I do like is that if you need to do multiple monograms, I could come in here and say I wanted to do one of my daughters. Now I can add that. And I have both of so I can cut out multiple monograms at once without having to load them onto a new canvas, which is, I think, a really great feature that you can have multiple added on here. All right, so now we have this monogram, which is the one that we've already messed with, and this monogram. So if I come here, because it says it's grouped, if I select ungroup, and now select here, so it is all attached here, which is interesting that it's letting it be all attached when it's, because normally, so let's go ahead and select detach. So now it's not attached. Normally, when you select everything and click attach, it changes all the colors to one. So I don't know what's going on here. So that's something to be aware of, is that if you are working with this, pay attention when you make it to your matte screen, so that your colors are cutting out differently if you're using more than one color, because you don't want to, it's like this one, I can add it back into the middle here, or you can go back but just for the look of it for right now. So I would say definitely make sure that you are getting things cut that are different colors on the separate mat. That appears to be a flaw that's happening right now with the Monogram Maker. But so I have these laid out. We're going to go ahead. Let's select these 2 pieces again, just like we did before. Attach those ones that are the same color. Go ahead and select make it. So from here, again, we can pick. I'm going to go ahead and select on a mat, click continue. And then if I am using a vinyl or a window cling, anything like that, a stencil, anything like that, where I just need it straight, then I can just go ahead and select continue. If you are doing something that's like an HTV or an infusible ink, you would want to go ahead and make sure that you're coming in here and mirroring each of these different sheets. And then if we select continue, I am not actually currently connected to a machine, so it's not going to show you, but all of the normal prompts will come up. You will select your material and then just follow the prompts for your material. It will walk you through as always. It will remind you if you follow the prompts on the screen. It will remind you if you have a if you select something like HTV or infusible ink or iron-on, any of those, it will remind you to mirror them, and you can just select your cut settings and all of that. So, so that's the Monogram Maker. I think it's really fun. I think it's been fun that we went through and discovered that about this particular monogram. Part of me wants to go in here and select a different monogram. So let's select this one. It has 2 different colors. Let's add it to the canvas. So now we have this one here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to just go ahead and hide these ones that we're not using currently, because I just want to check this one and see if it does the same thing. So if we select make it as is, so see, this one does it right. So that must be a flaw with that particular image, because it's without me having to ungroup or detach or anything like that. It's giving me the 2 different mats for the 2 different colors that are here on the canvas screen. So that's something to note about this lovely beta, is that we're going to run into things that they probably haven't seen yet, as they haven't, I'm sure, tried every single different thing. So something to be aware of there. If you have any questions about the Monogram Maker, I am going to continue to play with it and see what, just different things that we can do with it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you found this video helpful, we would love for you to give it a thumbs up and for you to subscribe to see more of our Cricut Design Space tutorials and craft tutorials. Also, you can find us. We are regularly on Instagram for Cricut projects at Cricut Inspiration, where we share often daily, different projects and quick tutorials and stuff for projects that you can make using your Cricut machine. Have a wonderful day. Again, if you have any questions, leave them here in the comments. Thanks.